Yeehaw, gang! We have officially finished more than half of our pro qualifiers for the 4th season of NSC, and despite the chilly Texas weekend, things are still heating up. So here's another top 10 moments brought to you by Silent Ninja. At number 10, we have a moment not by a competitor, but by the king of resets this weekend, Jody Avila. Seth Lambert was planning another trip to the hospital on the bar hopper with a link to peel technique, but Jody had other plans, stepping in and stopping Seth in his tracks, making him continue to finish the obstacle. Brandon got a kick out of the whole situation, and Seth went on to link the obstacle as intended. Swan speaks for all of us here.
Nice catch.
Number 9, Zach Keenan has one of the most jaw-dropping saves in recent memory. First, let's take a look at how this thing works to truly appreciate the silliness of the scramble. Picture saloon doors. 3 sets of them. The first set has small ledges on the side facing the athlete. The second 2 sets have what we call slopers, which are rounded and extremely difficult to hang on to. All 3 sets stop when open to 90 degrees. Any backswing will cause the doors to close again, which significantly truncates the ability to generate momentum. We saw a few methods with varying success rates, but the wildest experience on the obstacle by far was Zach Keenan's dismount. Pulling himself forward with zero cooperation from the components whatsoever, he was able to arch his way toward the dismount platform, get one foot to grab the ledge of the block, and then allowed quick thinking and his ability to scramble to take over. Zach went on to finish the course afterward, but did not hit the buzzer in time for a technical clear. Unfortunately, he picked up an injury at some point during the course, so he could not compete the following day, although he did qualify to do so. At number 8, we've got Michael Matthews and Sam Folsom's one-handed slide down saves on the hybrid course. Look, y'all, this thing was difficult. A lot happens here really quickly. On day 1, it took a lot of runners, a lot of attempts to finally unlock this obstacle. On day 2, it was made even trickier. These vertical holds are pure smooth metal with zero texture. The athletes are left with nothing but squeeze power to maintain grip. The next set are preloaded horizontally, which forces an undergrip move to position them vertically. The next component is actually just mean. On the front, there is one vertical ledge that isn't humanly possible to hang on to, but on the back side, there is another preloaded horizontal piece which will flip to vertical on impact. Cute, right? Sam Folsom and Michael Matthews both ended up in the same jaw-dropping position, sliding all the way down the metal pipe, but saved it and continued on with their run. At number 7, Jackson needed to win the burnout to get on the podium. Most competitors ever to step foot on a ninja course will not make it to the finals day in an NSC. An even smaller number will make it to all 3 rounds. And the select elite that will stand atop the podium for a Ninja Sport Championship competition is vanishingly small. If he would have won this competition, it would have been his 3rd NSC in a row. When it came to the burnout, he needed to win it to podium. After placing 5th in the hybrid, 5th in the speed, Jackson knew he had to step up, and the burnout did, and nearly an entire minute faster than 2nd. At number 6, we got Carrington double clearing the burnout. A burnout course has 2 platforms, one at the beginning of the course, one at the end. That's it. In between those platforms is typically a disgusting set of equipment that puts on display the most enduring athletes we have to offer as a sport. To even run the burnout in a competition atmosphere means you have spent an entire weekend outpacing waves of some of the best ninjas alive. Carrington calmly finished the burnout at Rise for the 2nd time, and outside of the championship event has only ever won the burnout rounds or finished the burnout. That is a horrifying stat. At number 5, we have Nora's speed shortcut. So Nora's good at this. That isn't a secret. One of the secrets to the success, at least of winning the speed division, was this little corner skip. The speed course found a few victims to falls. It was actually fall heavy compared to most, and having the top women push their limits beyond the halfway point of the season leads to risky moves all over. Having a nearly perfect run despite
the rings, I kind of got a little bit hung up on my line there.
And baking in this precious 2nd saver set her in the lead with a little breathing room heading into the burnout rounds. At number 4, we have Annabella first to clear the open. So there's this worrisome pattern as the day chugs along in the open course where the first 2 waves have spackled to moderate success while waiting for someone to finally unlock the course in its entirety. And it took all the way until Annabella Heinrichs to finally take this tough Texas task to town, putting her athleticism, strength, and technical skill on display, paving the way for the rest of the women and proving it was possible. At number 3, we got Emma Pereira, peel to clear. The courses get more difficult, longer, or both between day 1 and day 2, sometimes significantly so. So if there isn't a length extension, you can bet the difficulty is going to be cranked. And it was. So when the first 7 women failed obstacle 6, the spirits were inevitably deflating. See, that's when Emma Pereira stepped up and said, enough is enough. The first attempt at the crux ended in a heart-stopping peel. Couple of breaths, shake of the hands, and then a ridiculous display of power. This yanked the crowd back to life and restored hope for the remaining women of the wave. At number 2, we have Porter's grind to close out the 6th obstacle. Porter is an endurance athlete through and through. It could be the altitude she's used to training in. It could be her training itself. It could be her love of the game. And honestly, those are all just raw ingredients in the Porter recipe. When we get wrapped up in unique moments, we forget what an absolute grind and fight it can be to stack up in today's sports. Porter's open run was exactly that. When you take an early fall, the mental impact can be nearly as exhausting as having to effectively do an obstacle twice. The reset time chews away at your overall time limit, the pressure mounts, and weakens even the most elite to the point of buckling. But not Porter. Porter went on to finish this thing with a couple seconds to go, stacking her into a nice spot for day 2. At number 1, we have Philip Decided to Philip. Last year's season champion doesn't need an introduction and is widely recognized as one of the best to ever attack an obstacle course. Over the years, we've shifted reactions from, wow, I can't believe he did that, to, wow, how is that even possible? Rise wasn't an exception. In fact, it was the opposite. It was full-on reinforcement to the sentiment that Phil knows how to do obstacles. Open course, 1 minute and 43 seconds, 100% success rate on all obstacle attempts. The only male pro to do so. So next is the hybrid course. This course was beating people up all day. I mean, it's a finals course. It's the NSC. Regardless, and in typical Phil fashion, he needed to get our heart rates up. So he did. Phil double failed the first headache of the course, threatening to end his run and competition right then and there. After a calm interaction with his training partners about what he was doing wrong, he went on to finish the obstacle as well as all of the other obstacles. Again, the only male pro to do so. We aren't even going to talk about his speed course. I'm just kidding. But first, let's take this into consideration. There are 2 bars, let's say 7 feet apart. Think about hanging on this first bar and dangling back and forth. At the furthest part of your backswing, throw your chest forward and your feet backward. As you would begin to swing slightly forward, reverse the previous steps. Throw your feet forward and upward and your chest back and pull on the bar. The goal is to get your feet as high and far away from your hands as you can. Inevitably, gravity will take your lower body downward and cause you to swing backward. At a certain point, you may need to regrip your hands, likely directly before swinging forwards again. Now, there's a certain degree and posture you'll have to release the first bar in order to safely and capably swing to the next bar. There are varying ways to mix your posture and position based on the height, distance, etc. Someone very athletic can typically figure this out in a training session, maybe even after a handful of tries. With some instruction, really think about what you just learned. Keep in mind that Phil hasn't tried any of the obstacles beforehand. This is a finals course, there's a crowd, his athletic reputation is on the line, and it's live streamed. How? Then after the speed course, there was 1 round left, the burnout. We all know how ridiculous burnout courses are, and although Phil ended up in 3rd based on his time in the burnout course, watch this ridiculous save. Phil won Rise at the Warehouse. The only thing stopping him from a clean sweep on all courses were 2 previous world champions moving faster than he did on the final course. The gang heads south again for one of the most anticipated competitions of the year to Motive. Thanks to Silent Ninja for sponsoring another Top 10 Moments. Tune in this weekend for more action. You know it's going to be a good one.